Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Marotta here at the Navy League's annual Sea Aerospace Conference and Trade Show outside Washington, D.C., the #1 gathering of U.S. Navy leaders from around the world to meet with their international counterparts and talk about strategy, technology, and budgets and more. Our coverage here is sponsored by GE Marine, Huntington Ingalls Industries, and Leonardo DRS. And we are here at the Marotta stand to talk to Patrick Marotta, the third generation Marotta, who's led this 350-person company in Montville, New Jersey. Patrick, you guys are one of the extraordinary companies that has this vast range that allows everybody to do everything else in the industry. I mean, I've heard about you and seen you guys, and as I've been covering you, run into your folks over the decades. Talk to us a little bit, and it's your 76th anniversary, so happy birthday on that. Talk to us about how the company got founded and how you guys managed to grow in so many discrete and critical parts of the industry, whether you were making the Bell X-1 plane that broke the first aircraft to go faster than the speed of sound, to landing on the moon, to today's programs.
So in 1943, my grandfather started by doing anything he could to help in World War II. A chance meeting with some engineers at the Reaction Controls rocket engine factory led us to developing our first high-pressure fuel and oxidizer valves, derivatives of which we still produce today for various rocket and missile customers. From that, we grew, participated in Saturn Apollo program, had over 150 flight items on Saturn V, and still have valves on the lunar descent engine on the moon today. So we're still on the moon, and looking forward to going back. Space makes up about a third of our business, mostly on launch platforms. We participate in a tremendous way in the growing commercial space industry, but legacy platforms and ULA and the like as well. We continue to expand our offerings in the mid-50s and 60s, got into supporting the surface and subsurface Navy, and that continues to be about a third of our business today as well. And then the balance of our business has been, over the last 10-15 years, we've developed electronic controls, motor controls, control actuating systems for missile and aircraft applications.
So if I look at it, and that's extraordinary, you know, it's an extraordinary growth story for you guys. But if you look at the space you guys reside in, where you've got giants like Honeywell, so many other subsystem suppliers, international competition is a lot brisker today than it was in the day when the company was founded. Talk to us about how you guys, as a privately held 350-person concern, can compete in what is a highly competitive global industry.
For the most part, we compete by being very agile, being very responsive to our customers' needs, and pushing the envelope on technology. We, in many ways, derive a lot of existing product to meet new applications, but then where it makes sense, we'll introduce new technologies. So we very rarely start with a clean sheet of paper and introduce that high-risk element to our customers, and they respect that. They look for derivatives where it meets their needs, very cost-effective, but at the same time, they know we're not shy to push the edge. We've developed some power supplies and power conversion technology that is very efficient, highly efficient, and has great redundancy built in, as well as introducing things like additive manufacturing. We were just recently we're notionally given approval on an additive manufacturing process for a metal product in a submarine. So that'll be the first approval of a submarine additive manufactured product. So we're very excited to be there.
That's extraordinary, and actually if you can get it into the submarine force, then pretty much everything else becomes a lot easier, given the incredibly stringent processes at naval reactors and NAVCO-8. Tell us a little bit about, you know, obviously as a privately held company, and I know that there are a lot of other folks here who wish they were privately held companies at the end of the day, you know, how much of what you guys are bringing in as a percentage do you direct toward R&D so that you guys make sure that you remain on that competitive razor's edge, both in terms of the technology, but then of course the producibility of something, you know, to ensure that you remain that value proposition for your customers?
So for better than 10 years now, we've invested quite heavily in the business, a combination of either direct program investment, where we'll not pass along the full development costs to our customer, or straight R&D, almost 20% of top line sales. And that's led to a tremendous growth that has been a focus of the family and the family shareholders, as well as attracting very dynamic talent from much larger competitors in the industry. That level of investment, that level of thinking about the future programs, we kind of went right to the limit of what we could comfortably do, all with the idea of growth and setting the business up for the next generation. Everything we really look at is focused on how do we increase our sustainability? How do we have a balanced portfolio of products, technologies, customers, and are they sustainable programs for the long term? So we kind of get a chance to look out generations in our returns, and I know many companies don't have that luxury.
I think that's extraordinary, and your story about how much you have to direct toward investment is very much in line with companies, privately held companies, but also very many European companies who feel that's the amount of money they have to put in part because the United States will pay for R&D, for example, where European countries are a little bit different in that in terms of investment. How do you get the human talent piece of this right? Because you oftentimes you'll have very energetic talent. You guys are purely vast majority of you are all engineers. At the end of the day, which also is critical. But how do you get that talent? Because sometimes when a young talented engineer is graduating, they're like, wow, I got an offer from Boeing, and I have an offer from Bell, or I've got an offer from Huntington Ingalls. How do you guys remain that, pull that key talent you need? Because, not only are you investing a lot, but you do need the absolute top talent making the choice to come work for Marotta Controls as opposed to somebody else.
So on the engineering side, we almost have it a little bit easier, where we can enable an engineer to work from the very beginning, initial design concept. Maybe they partner with one or two more seasoned engineers, but they get very involved in the entire process. They see it beginning to end. They see it right out to the production floor. They could be 6 months into a job and have immediate customer contact. We offer them great visibility. They're not really pigeonholed into doing one analysis or one feature of a design. They get involved in the entire design. So in that way, and oftentimes they're not limited to one program at a time. We make people work 4 or 5 programs simultaneously. So we keep it a very interesting, exciting environment. Things get a little less exciting but more productive when we get to the production floor, and it has been difficult to recruit production technicians or machinists. We've been successful, but it's been a challenge. Have a lot of training programs going on internally, and there's a lot of state programs out there as well that we are able to take advantage of.
But that cross-pollination, right, becomes also part of your secret sauce, because somebody is working a complex problem here that may actually help them solve a problem somewhere else.
Well, because we're all in one location, we have the 3 different market segments. Different market segments are focused on different things, but being under the same roof, if we see a solution that works really well for one customer, one technology, we can bring that and cross-pollinate within the same business, and so you start to get elements of the different markets showing up in the different new products.
Which is great. Let me ask you about what your growth plans are. You guys have grown organically over the years. Are you guys looking at acquisitions? Do you want to continue to grow organically and not take on that debt and some of the challenges, cultural challenges in particular, especially for small companies, can be a real challenge? Is there a sellout plan? I know, God forbid that we should say that, although I get a sense that's not the case if you're looking at a generational strategy. I think you want to make sure that Marottas are running the company 76 years downstream. But as you look, Patrick, sort of 5 to 10 years out, where do you want to take the company that your dad and grandfather built to this point?
So we are looking to the next generation. We are looking for, we've pretty much benchmarked an 8.5% growth rate, and we've been meeting that. Of course, not exactly a straight line, but in peaks and valleys, we've been able to maintain that over the last 10 years. Tremendous growth, and it has been all organic. Not that we're opposed to an acquisition, but it's got to be the right fit. It's got to offer us continued relationships, remaining in aerospace and defense, which is what we see as core to who we are. So it's a technology acquisition or a customer acquisition, but if we can maintain that kind of growth rate, that is really what we're looking for.
Patrick Marotta, the President and CEO of Marotta Controls. Absolute pleasure talking to you. Wish you all the best. Look forward to seeing you guys again and maybe visiting you guys in New Jersey and seeing how you guys make the magic happen.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.